It's Do Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this Due Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you yesterday? Oh, yesterday. Let's talk about it. Tuesday, Church Folk Day. When I talk about a heavy morning, we just could not get around the fact that there is a real attack on our children. We talked about the Louisiana dad who murdered his 7 children and another child, a total of 8 children. We talked about the other killing out here in Queens and just a senseless murder. It started off with just this beating of a young man, and out of nowhere, he then was just shot in straight cold blood. And you just could not get around this issue of just murder of our children. We talked about the young lady from Detroit who was on her way home from school, and she was abducted and raped. And thanks be to God for the children in her school, as well as a gas attendant who she mouthed help to, who picked up on that, stepped in between her and the abductor and was able to rescue her. And we don't know what. He was gassed up and ready to go. We don't have any idea as to what he was getting ready to do with her. And I tell you, just tears, heartbreak. We just could not say enough for what our children are experiencing out here. We went to a town hall meeting last night regarding the individual who was murdered, the 15-year-old young man, and it was nothing but love. I have never been in such an environment where all they did was just it was amazing. I have to tell you, it was absolutely amazing for the people to come out for Jaden Pierre, and how he was here at 1 minute and gone the next. There was political presence, there was clergy, there were so many different organizations that was there, the Department of Health, the Department of Justice, the Police Department, Parks Department, because it happened in a park. It was amazing. It was amazing. And, we just, Shantice and I, we worked the room. We told people about the conference and the prayer walk that we have coming up in July. And they were so receptive. Not only were they receptive, but it was just, everybody was there on one accord. No matter who you spoke to, they were just ripe and ready to connect with people. And they had Eagle Academy from Queens, where Jaden attended. And we witnessed such bravery and courage. The young men from the school spoke, and we heard what they thought of this senseless killing, what they felt the community needed, what they felt they were lacking and we were not providing as a community. It was an amazing experience. I am so glad I took Shantice's lead, and she mentioned going over there, and I went with her, and I tell you, that was one of the best moves I could have ever, 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 ever made, ever made, ever made. The connections with just people, listening to the community. They had people speaking from the community, and voicing their opinion and their questions, and you know their needs. And it was really worth every single moment of being there. When we got there, it was absolutely, I mean, it was jam packed, standing room only. And like I said, the aura of the room was, heavy. The people were crying. It was just an amazing. It was wonderful to see the community come together and just let me know that we were on the right track of, when God gave the conference being a prayer walk and awareness walk. So we're just praying and trusting that God will band all of the individuals together that need to come together so we can really, really get what's needed for this community done. So we just give God thanks for everything he gives us. He's never a moment too soon, and definitely not a moment too late. And there was in closing, there was the founder of Eagle Academy there. And he definitely spoke on the fact that no matter what we put in place, everybody said, oh, we need guidance counselors, we need this, we need that. And I was so proud that somebody still stood up and said, we're missing God. I don't care what you give your children. I don't care what we feel we're missing. If God is not in the equation, we don't have anything. So that was the nail in the coffin for me. That just let me know. And I mean, everybody was on their feet. It was well received. So please just continue to pray for our young people and our community. So listen, let's get this party started. It's Wild Wednesday. Our girlfriend Vivian is waiting in the wings to do her socially conscious segment, and we can't wait to see what she's got this morning. So go ahead and get that healthy breakfast. Go ahead and tell somebody, anybody, everybody that It's Due Time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere, because we will be right back.
We all grow up, and the world gets hard. And for some of us, we feel it's too hard. And we take matters into our own hands because we don't think it'll get easier. But it will. Anybody out there who may be struggling right now because you feel that life is too hard for you. And I've been there where I thought that it wasn't going to get better, but it did. So I want to encourage anybody out there right now who you are thinking about giving up. It will get better. You just got to hold on. Don't give up. Joy will come again. You just gotta believe it. You gotta hold on. You gotta fight for your life, okay? Sometimes that's what it feels like. Sometimes it feels like you gotta fight for your life. But you deserve that. You are worthy to be here.
good morning, and good morning again. Welcome back to His Due Time with Pastor Steph. And it is Wow Wednesday this morning. Well, let's not waste any more time. Let's get started with our girlfriend Vivian and her socially conscious segment. Good morning, Vivian.
Good morning. Happy Wow Wednesday. How are you, Pastor Steph?
I am well, thank you. I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good, good, good. What you got for us today, Viv?
Okay, today on Socially Conscious, we are starting off with the news about New York yet again. We talked about a couple of weeks ago or last week about the foreigners who were making a great impact on our money out here because they were no longer making their way out here. Where now we have New York City is losing people faster than usual, and not just a few. A new study shows that in 2025, more people moved out of New York City than moved in, causing the population to drop after a short period of growth. The biggest reason: fewer people are coming from other countries, which we spoke about, with international migration dropping by about 70%. So no longer are they visiting, but they're also not moving out here, dropping about 70%, and more residents choosing to relocate to other parts of the United States. But here's why it gets real. The people leaving aren't who some might expect. The study found that working and middle class residents are leaving faster than the wealthy. And let's be honest, working and middle class residents are the ones who really put a stamp on the economics here. We do the most spending. So we're greatly making an impact when we decide to leave. They're saying this is likely due to high living costs, taxes, and concerns about things like schools and city services. Millennials are leading the exits, and many are heading somewhere close to places like New Jersey or Long Island. Others are going further to places like Florida and Texas. So that is definitely in the talks. I don't know what they're going to do, but New York is definitely struggling. People are exiting more than they are entering, both in living and in visiting this place. Next, we have some good news, which Lord knows we need it. So we're shouting out a Pennsylvania high school teacher who is getting national recognition, and not just for teaching, but for shaping lives. Leon Smith, a history teacher at Haverford High School, has been named the 2026 National Teacher of the Year after spending 25 years in the classroom. That within itself is an accomplishment these days. He teaches subjects like U.S. history and African American studies, but what really sets him apart is how he connects with his students, helping them see their potential, even when they don't see it themselves. They're saying he calls himself a warm demander, meaning he pushes students to do their best while also showing them real care and support. His classroom isn't just about textbooks, it's about building confidence, encouraging critical thinking, and helping students understand the world around them. He even takes learning outside the classroom, bringing students to the state capitol so they can see how decisions are made in real life. Over the next year, Mr. Smith will represent educators across the country, speaking on the importance of teaching and the impact it has on future generations. At a time when education is constantly being debated, his story is a reminder that one dedicated teacher can truly change the direction of a student's life and what kind of influence they have and it goes way beyond the classroom. So shout out to Mr. Leon Smith, a black educator who is now being honored. So we thank him. Next, we have immigrant children have been removed from a New York City facility after abuse allegations surfaced, raising concerns about how these children are being treated. But are we really surprised? The facility is located in Westchester County. They were housing unaccompanied minors when reports came out claiming some children were physically harmed, restrained, and even isolated. Once those allegations reached federal officials, the government stepped in and quickly removed the children out of the facility while investigations began. They say that these minors claimed that they were being thrown to the ground, restrained multiple times, and placed in isolation rooms. These allegations have now triggered for a federal investigation, with oversight agencies stepping in to figure out what really happened and who is responsible for any of these allegations. The organization that ran the facility says it has a zero tolerance policy for abuse, but the situation is already raising serious concerns and questions about supervision and accountability when it comes to these migrant or immigration facilities holding these unaccompanied minors. So not only are they being left out here without an adult, but then again, those who are supposed to be caring for these children until they figure this whole situation out are out here possibly abusing them instead of taking care of them. And now we have our wow story of the week, which is a short one, but definitely goes along with what Pastor Stephanie opened up with about these schools needing God, or these children rather needing God in them. Either or. So reports say a major court ruling out in Texas is turning heads across the country because a federal appeals court has just ruled that the state can require public school classrooms to display the 10 Commandments. This would be reviving a law that has previously been blocked. That means schools could soon be required to put a religious text on the wall, whether families agree with it or not. Supporters say that this isn't about pushing religion, it's about history, arguing that the 10 Commandments help shape American laws. But critics are sounding the alarm, saying this crosses a constitutional line and could pressure students who do not share those beliefs. So now there's this battle going forth, but as of right now, it's looking like they are ruling for the 10 Commandments to be placed in public schools. So if that happens, where could this be leading us? In the right direction, hopefully. But this has been Vivian with Socially Conscious News, giving you the news that we are following. And remember, if you have any wild stories you would like to submit, please feel free to direct message me on Facebook. My username there is Vivian BM. And come back every Wednesday to find out if your story has been chosen. Thank you, as always, to our loyal viewers and listeners. And thank you, Pastor Steph.
Thank you, Vivian. Thank you. Another set of great topics. We appreciate you greatly. Thank you for your contribution into today's conversation. And we pray you have a blessed day. We miss you, girl.
Miss you too. Have a blessed day.
All right. You too. There we have it. We have our items for today's conversation. And, on Wednesday mornings, we do it backwards. We talk to our girlfriend Vivian first, and then I go back and I say good morning to my loyal viewers. So if you're in the room, please check in. Other than that, I don't know you're here. Let's say good morning to our boy Serge. Hey, Serge. Thank you for joining us this morning. We pray you have a great travel and a great day today. We got our girl Ketty in the house. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us, Ketty. Hope you're feeling better. Terrence, Your Highness, it's always wonderful to have you in the house. Thank you so much for joining us. We got our lady Tamika joining us this morning from that side of the fence, always checking in, which is always a good sign that we have her in the house. Oh, let's see who else is joining us this morning. We have, let's see, it's me. I think it's Mr. Me. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoy your morning with us. We got Ketty and Tamika who says that was a great PSA, as well as Terrence. Right, we can't give up. We definitely cannot give up. And Serge is saying, yes, Texas, a move in the right direction. Yes, we definitely agree with that. So let's get to our conversation. Let's get our ladies on the line. Oh, I'm sorry. We definitely have to say good morning to our girl Anika, who definitely shapes our morning, helping to hold us down in the morning. And we have a check-in from Miss Grace. Good morning, Miss Grace. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you are doing well today and you have a safe journey outside. All righty. Thank you so much. All right. So where are our ladies? Let's say good morning to our lady Tamika. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday to you. How are you today?
Yes, I am well. Thank you. How are you?
Good. I am good.
Good. Very good. Glad to hear. And we got a check in from our girl Shantice. Let's say good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you today?
Oh, okay, thank you. Allergies trying to annoy me, but
okay.
Okay. Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Amen. All right, ladies. Let's get to talking about Vivian's items here. We got our first notice. New York State, Vivian was talking about the money the last time that we are losing because the immigrants and the visitors are not, internationally visiting us anymore. But this go round, she's talking about New York is losing people faster, as in 2025, people have moved out faster or more than any other year. And not only are the international people dropping at 70%, but they are deciding to move. People are deciding to move to other states. Working and middle class people are moving faster than the wealthy because of the cost of living in New York, the high taxes, the schools. The millennials are relocating to Florida and Texas, as well as Long Island. And New York is definitely struggling overall because of all of this relocation. Well, Lady Tamika, good morning to you again. What's your thought on all of this movement, from our residents?
Not at all surprised. This year alone, everything is going up except the paycheck, and with that being the case, it's causing people to start thinking differently. Where can I move that's, cost effective? The thing about that is New York will pay you the most for your buck, but when you move to someplace else, also understand that your paycheck is going to decrease because
Right.
New York is one of the if you want to say, one of the higher paying, but we pay higher because the price and the cost of living is higher. You know,
right.
It doesn't surprise me that we can't get enough visitors, and now those that have been here, you know, are saying, "Listen, let me try and find someplace else that." You know, and you know, you can't really fault them. The thing that surprises me is you were saying that they were moving to Long Island. You know, even in this household, we were trying to find a new place. You know, we were thinking about, you know, relocating. But going to Long Island, the taxes are higher than where we are now. So for me, that wouldn't be a wise decision. It would be more feasible to move to another state.
Right. Absolutely. Shantice, people are relocating quickly. And, you know, they mentioned, Viv mentioned the millennials who are relocating to Florida, to Texas, and to Long Island. As a millennial, do you see yourself going to any of those locations?
No, I'm fine right here. It is a lot more costly, of course, in New York City, but you get what you pay for when you move. You know, I'm accustomed to, if I want or need to get up in the middle of the night to go buy something, one little thing, I can go do that. There's somewhere where it's open. You go outside the state, no, you're not getting that convenience. That's just one of the things. So I understand about the financial aspect of it, but for me, it's just, nah. The pace isn't matching who I am as a human being. So yeah, and a lot of them, they make that move, and a lot of times they don't like it, but they now have to make it work because they've depleted all of their options coming back. They can't really come back, so now it's like you're pretty much stuck there. So I have no choice but to make this work, but to learn how to like it. But most of them don't like it. If they had their way, and if they were able to come back and not have to spend as much, like the rents or the price for a home, you know, in Georgia and Florida and Texas, whatever, but be here, they most of them would.
Yeah. You know, I can tell you several individuals who, Vivian says, I want out New York City as a millennial. She's trying to get up out of here. Oh, well, you know, it's understandable when you look at the cost of living. The cost of living is really, really bad. You know, when we were, you know, this age in our 20s, it was much easier to make it work. We weren't even making that much money, but it just was easier to move out of your parents' home, to stay outside of the home. You didn't need as much assistance. You know, it just worked. And, you know, if you find yourself back home with mom and dad, then you pretty much mismanaged your money. But nowadays, you can even make it out the house because it's just that expensive. And, you know, Lady Tamika brought this up a couple of weeks ago, how, you know, they opened up options to us, allowing us to put units in our backyards and renting basements and things like that, because family can't move out like that anymore. So what do? What's your option? Your option is to relocate. Unfortunately, like Shantice said, most people, when they do leave, they don't make it well. You know why? Because the balance. It's a balance. People don't realize it's a balance. When you leave New York, you do not take your New York salary with you.
Right.
Unless you're working for a company that, you know, is there, they have locations elsewhere, and you move into those locations and you can keep your same salary because you're doing the same job. Keep in mind that everything balances. Listen, we've been doing news stories about how people have been going out getting jobs and they've had to take some real abuse.
Yep.
Because clearly ain't no jobs out there. Because I would hate to believe that you were accepting all of this mistreatment. I mean, and the mistreatment is real. We ain't talking about no little itty bitty stuff here. We're talking about some major levels of mistreatment, and the fact that these people have accepted this behavior for a long time. And I would hate to know that you do enduring all of this and there are other jobs out there.
Right.
So know that when you relocate, that you're going to have to choose wisely, because a lot of people I know have left New York and wanted to come back and could not make that move, like Shanti said, because moving is expensive. That relocation, that's a lot of money that's spent. So, be wise, choose wisely, choose your location wisely, and hopefully, I ain't going nowhere. Personally, I live in a spot in here where I'm neutral. I'm in any borough by public transportation or by driving in minutes. And I'm sorry, at this age, I ain't going nowhere. Husband or not, we stand right here. So, big ups to everyone who, who have aspirations to move, but Steph ain't going nowhere. I'm staying right here. I'll see y'all when y'all get back, or let me know how it is on the other side of the fence. So, blessings and more blessings. Oh, we got this PA teacher on this side of the fence. Amen. Who is getting, major attention as he is shaping lives in the classroom for 25 years. He is now named 2026 National Teacher of the Year. And he says he connects with students in a special way. He has a warm demander approach. And he says there is, a lot of teaching that can go on outside of the classroom. He says that, he takes them to Washington where the decisions are made, and, wants to see, wants to show them, the students, a lot of care, support, confidence, and wants to teach critical thinking. And anybody that knows me knows big ups to Mr. Leon Smith for that critical thinking. And, we get a lot of flack, when we talk about these teachers, because it's hard out here. It's hard out here to work with these young people. But, 25 years he's been doing it. Shantice, what say you about Mr. Leon Smith?
Congrats and kudos to Mr. Leon Smith, because as you stated, Pastor Steph, and as we see for ourselves, when we hear Vivian and Teresa speak, or we listen to other teachers, and I am blessed to go do these career days, oh my goodness, it is. I keep telling them, I'm like, that you would have to come and unhook your child from the ceiling if I was a teacher. Because I'm just not putting up with this. There is a whole lot of different personalities you have to deal with, and not just from the students. You also have to deal with your coworker. You have to deal with your superior. You have to deal with their superior. You have to deal with the school crossing guard. You got to deal with the safety agents. You got to deal with everyone, at the guidance counselors, the dean. There's so many different components to being a teacher. It's not just isolated to whoever walks in and out of my classroom. So for him to have that longevity in education is commendable, as it was stated. For him to be excelling in how effective he is with these students is commendable, and kudos to it being on this side of the fence, because again, one thing about us is we gonna get creative. Sometimes we have to be creative in order to stay out of jail. So before I hurt you, before I'm now the leading story on the 10 o'clock news or whatever time the news come on TV. If I'm on New York One or Shade Room, let me tune in with the Lord and get a little creative as to a more personalized way to get either these lessons through to you, whether it be school lessons, life lessons. But this is amazing to hear. I love it, especially high school. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, big time, big time. All right, Lady Tamika, what say you for Mr. Leon Smith? 25 years up in that classroom and still going strong.
I think that is amazing. We're in 2026, so that means he started in 2000, give or take, and to be able to have that stick-to-itness, for children. Children, we all know, we have had plenty of episodes where children can take you there. We've seen things where teachers are, retaliatory because a child did something, said something, and to be able to stick there for 25 years and going beyond, the everyday, you taking people, children to Washington, D.C. to see how everything works. These are things that, a lot of times we don't get the opportunity to get access to. That tells
Right.
you that you go above and beyond. And it's not just, I'm going to teach you the curriculum. It's, I'm going to do, whatever it is that I got to do to shake you up so that you will know how this world works. And be able to, have that. I remember, ironically, just within the last couple of months, some of my old elementary school, we all got together via Facebook and we did a Zoom, and we were talking about how we got access to be Intrepid as a child. Those things are lifelong. We're adults now with lives of our own, families of our own, and those are things that you remember lifelong. Somebody within their lifetime is going to say, you remember teacher, Leon, you remember that? So I think that's a beautiful thing. He's got a legacy, and the fact that he's, tan. Oh, I'm absolutely loving that one.
Absolutely, absolutely. Viv says we need more black males in the schools. Love to see it, especially during Black History Month. Yep, we're claiming every month is Black History Month. That's right, Vivian. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because that's one of the things I want to talk about. The young men spoke last night, as I was saying, and that was one of their requests. They said they wanted to see more black males in the classroom. They said that we want more black teachers, black male teachers. And this is amazing to now come here this morning and hear, not only that, but you're talking about Mr. Leon Smith, who has spent 25 years in the classroom and never had a complaint, clearly. There's been no scandal. There's been no complaints. Nobody didn't drug his name, where it was effective enough to disqualify him. We're just grateful for teachers. Al talks a lot about, being in the schools and how he's impacted by the schools, how the schools impact him. And, we're grateful for our, black males who are representing themselves and this race and culture in the school. And again, we're talking about Pennsylvania. We ain't talking about Arkansas or, one of those locations where, it's the other side of the fence. Mm-hmm. We're talking about somewhere where we are. Right. And we don't get a lot of accolades. We get a lot of flack. And like you both have said, we know these kids can take you there. Mm-hmm. And I tell people in a minute, I teach the Bible because Lord knows, being in a class with a bunch of, students who are unruly and disrespectful, You know, a lady and I were talking about last night about the kids, even when you ride public transportation, and both of you have spoken about that before, about when you're on the bus and the train, and you are surrounded by these black kids. Serge talks about it all the time. You know, just being on the train with them, and to know that you have survived 25 years. Yo, that alone needs to give you that 2026 Teacher of the Year. And yes, you need to be, representing, and that's what he will be doing. He will be circulating, representing the teachers, and so rightly so, because that is definitely something that he has really, really earned. Yeah, we don't earn a whole lot of things in life, but this is something he has definitely earned. All right, here we go about our children. So we've got a group of immigrant children out in a New York City facility. Well, it's out in Westchester, so it's not New York City anymore, but out in Westchester County. Their claims that they're being harmed, and government agency have removed them from the home as they have started their investigations. There have been claims that they are being thrown to the ground, they're being restrained, put in isolation rooms. Definitely something that we've heard before in schools, out of schools, in facilities, in daycares, or we've heard it before, definitely. But this agency is not taking any chances. They are definitely trying to find out who is responsible. They want to know who is going to take accountability for the supervision. And this is what's happening with this group of unaccompanied minors. Lady Tamika, what we talking about here? We talked about the kids yesterday. Now they've been removed from the home, and they are still making claims that they are being mistreated.
And I'm thinking about these children way out in the middle of nowhere. Westchester County is not like, any of the boroughs. Well, especially, Brooklyn and Queens, where you can, pop from one place to another. Long Island, now it's a little harder. But you got these children way out here in Westchester County, where it's not like you can just hop on the nearest, bus or train and try and get help, and now they're complaining that they're being abused and beaten and mistreated and put in rooms and, all of those type of things, causing trauma for these children. I think it's a horrible thing to hear, and I'm hoping that, I'm glad that they're trying to get to the bottom of it, because we don't want to have, or hear that, children are dying because of neglect or mistreatment or, disrespect.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Shantish, these children have been removed, from their parents. We talked about this a couple of years ago when we had all this influx of immigrants, and now they've been taken away and now possibly mistreated.
The trauma, again, that these babies are going through. I wasn't safe with mommy and or daddy. And, some kids who may feel like I'm being rescued, because there's some kids who could have been taken away, even with receiving the bad treatment, but not feeling like, me leaving here is going to have me somewhere better, even if it was somewhere better. And then now you're negligent, you're mistreating. Why? Why are we holding these kids to mistreat them? What is the point? Why not just set them free into the streets? Like, why not just push them out to the street and just lock the doors and say you're not allowed in here? That would be so much less traumatic than you leaving me in here and you not feeding me, you not bathing me, you beating on me, whatever's going on. Whatever's going on. Or I'm here, you're not paying me no mind. Again, you would be better just dropping these kids off at the precinct, and being like, I don't want to do with them, or just leave them on steps. Like,
Mhm.
why are you causing more trauma? Like, people don't understand, and a lot of times it's because they feel like, well, I don't have to deal with the after effects of it. Despite what you believe, yes, you do. Because you may think out of sight, out of mind, and God may allow that very thing to come right back around to you now because of what you've inflicted onto other people. But I don't see how we pull ourselves having any type of facility. We're supposed to be here to help, but we're not helping. It's like, what? Why? What's the point?
Right. You know, I remember this was a huge issue, like I said, a couple of years ago, where these children were being brought here, and they, or not brought here, their parents couldn't make it. If you remember, parents couldn't quite come across that border, but they were pushing them kids across that border. And we said, now you've got a group of children who don't have their natural parents. They are now going to become part of this city and state. And what are you going to do with them now? Well, here we go. This is what you're doing with them. They have been put in facilities. You have also gotten rid of their parents, deported their parents, and now you got the kids here. Mm-hmm. And now you've got these kids here with not their natural parents who may have cared for them properly, but now you've put them with people who don't like children. Because anytime you mistreat children, that's because you don't like them. You don't like them. You don't like them. You're taking out your anger on them. You're resentful. You're just using them for the money. And this is what happens when you separate children from their natural parents who are loving them and taking care of them. So we're not talking about just regular kids. We're talking about immigrant children. And when we talk about immigrant children, this is how they become children who are unaccompanied by their parents. That's not something that they opted for. It's not something that they chose necessarily. If you've deported their parents, but those we talked about, those who push their kids across the border, and with the hopes that, okay, if we all can't get a good life, at least my kids can get a good life. But they weren't thinking about the fact that you are now pushing your children into certain conditions. All you were thinking about was getting them into America. Well, America is ridden with a bunch of hatred. America is ridden with people who are mistreating children. You weren't thinking about that there, so unfortunately, this is what's happening. I'm happy that they have snatched them out of this facility, opposed to some of the other stories we've done where the children have been left, ignored, but these kids, are being, have been snatched out while they do the investigation. They said that they were thrown to the ground, restrained, and put in isolation rooms. We've done too many stories to doubt these accusations. We have done way too many stories to possibly say, well, you know what? We don't know what they're talking about. Because yes, we do. And I hope they find these people, and I hope they put them in jail for a long time, because like Shanti said, if you don't want them, if you are not going to treat them properly, then give them to people who can. There are a lot of people who are willing to take older children now. Remember years ago, it was they wanted the babies. But there are people who are willing to take older children. Give them an opportunity to love these kids.
Well, here's
Oh
the
boy.
scary thing that I hear, that I'm thinking about. Okay, fine. So we're only talking about what we hear, because I'm thinking about this.
That's right.
You've got children that are being abused, raped, maybe even harvested, meaning that you're taking their organs because who's going to find out, and that's
Right.
everything. Like,
Right.
as I'm thinking about it, it's like, okay, so we just hear about what we hear,
Right.
whose child was damaged, beyond repair. What do you do
Right.
with a child that's damaged beyond repair? You get rid of them. Who's to say? Because mom and dad is in another country.
Right. Right. Yeah. You're absolutely right. And I always say that this is only the stuff we hear about. You're absolutely right. What goes on behind those other doors that we have no clue is happening. Really good point. Really good point, Lady Tamika. Well, we're on a real upswing here because we've talked about this before on Socially Conscious as well as, during other days of the week. I remember us talking about this like twice. Well, Texas has finally gotten a federal ruling where they can display the 10 Commandments in the schools. It's funny, this is one of the conversations I was having with someone last night at the town hall meeting. And they have been up against some resistance. As we know, at one point, it was signed in. And then the next thing we knew, it was taken down. They said, no, you can't do it. And now we're back on the upswing because they're saying that, listen, this is not just about God. This is about American history. This is a part of our history. It's helped to shape America. Now what? Shantice.
Anytime you want to talk about the one and only true living God, there is so much that has to be said. What do you think you're doing when we got to observe all these holidays? It's the same thing. You just don't have it posted up because the students are not in school. Instead, they're observing it by closing the schools. Oh, why? Oh, because it's this holiday, and this holiday is acknowledging this religion, and this holiday is acknowledging this religion. So already you're putting a seed in these child's and parents' mind that if they never heard of these holidays, now they're hearing about it. If they're questionable about it, good or bad, they may look into it. And now they're reading up on what you believe in, whether they agree with it or not, or, listening to it, even if they don't really go in depth. It's the same thing. So now there's this uproar because the 10 Commandments have been put up. And I believe one of the last times we spoke about it, there was a challenge that I think someone put out there. Like, okay, so put the 10 Commandments up and put what y'all believe in up. And let's see which one. We can play this game. I don't remember who it was. It was someone in one of the stories. I remember if it was someone in the school or if it was a politician. It was someone. And it was pretty much like, well, leave the 10 Commandments up and now put what you believe up. And now let's
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Yes, like let's see which one can really stand its ground. And I remember that. I remember us saying we love it because we already know which one is going to stand the test. Because every other doctrine, because it's not the truth, is shaky. So now when you put the truth up against it, you have no choice but to see what the truth really is. And they didn't want that. And this is why, and they still don't want it. And this is why now there's still all this backlash. And I love it. If these schools are smart, as soon as it goes up, start implementing it, start bringing attention to it, so that if it gets to where they now try to pull it back down and it comes back down, you've already not only planted the seed, but started watering it. And then now, as I said, I've sat and I've listened to two, I think one was in the 3rd grade, one was in the 4th grade. One of the little boys was a Christian, the other little boy was a Muslim. And the way they were conversing, I was so mad I couldn't pull my phone out and record it. I was like, y'all are so much more mature than half the adults I know that can't have a healthy relationship on, this is what I believe in, or this is what I believe in. Whoever was right or wrong, whichever one believed in God and Buddha or this one or that one, but it was so, and you could tell the wheels were going because one said something, the other was like, well, that doesn't really make sense because when I read but it was so respectful. And again, but look at the conversations that's taking place in the school.
Right,
and
because
they're learning how to have a conversation where we don't agree, but we still need to talk about this thing. So I love it. And again, they start hammering it. So talk about them commitments, start diving into it so that when we get to take it down, it's already ingrained.
Right.
And it's already now has grown so many legs that even with it not being literally posted up anymore, the children are keeping that information going. I love it.
Right. Okay. Lady Tamika.
One woman petitioned to have prayer removed from schools. The moment that changed, you gave access to the enemy.
Yep.
You said, go ahead, do what you want to do with our children. And I could be wrong, but I don't remember any of the trauma that we have seen with our children. I don't remember there ever being shootings at schools or anything like that prior to that I can recall. I mean, there may be one, I may be wrong, but I don't remember that. And even within the last couple of days, we heard about traumas happening at school,
Right.
When I tell you the traumas and things that I'm hearing as, secondhand from just my husband or, things in the neighborhood. I told you about a young lady who went into the kitchen cafeteria and slit her own neck in front of the students in the school. This was just a couple of weeks ago, and so my thing is this, this having it there is a beautiful thing. I remember in the schools that I was a part of, almost all of my schools, we did the prayer, we prayed the Our Father, and then after that was the Pledge of Allegiance, though that was what we did, and I remember there was a modicum of love, and my thing is putting it up is one thing. Having it you ever seen, like, one of the things that God has been showing me is really pay attention, my word, authenticity and being intentional. You ever walk past a sign 9,000 times? Then you go, I didn't know that. Right. So my thing is, okay, fine, you got it on a wall. Let's do more than just putting it on a wall. As we were doing the prayer, have them, have them actually say it, because if you want to use that it's a part of history, then make that, because it is true. Everything that we have, the premises, even everything that we've ever known was built on that premise. Now, how we drifted or strayed, that's another thing. However, but, if you're saying that that's what it is, then it needs to be put in every school. Don't start with Texas, start with New York City, because we all have to.
We as we said, this has been a back and forth thing. Over the last couple of years, we've been talking about this here as the notice comes out, so-and-so signed it in, and then all of a sudden they ripping it down because, like you said, Tamika, 1-2 people complain, and now that voice speaks louder, and now you got to pull it down. I'm with Shantice. It's up there. Just make it a part of everyday recitation. Same way you do the Pledge of Allegiance. And that way it starts to become ingrained. So if it should get to a point where now we're up against another level of resistance, and it gets pulled down, at least it would have started to, get molded and ingrained in the hearts and the minds of these kids and teachers. Everybody's going to be influenced one way or the other. So, this is, I'm happy to hear this. that that this is still a fight. You follow what I'm saying? That they didn't it just didn't come down. It was like, oh well, we tried, but yet this is an ongoing. I don't listen. I'd rather for it to be a back and forth thing than for it not to be a thing.
Right.
Because again, if we get it in there for 5 minutes, utilize those 5 minutes like those were the last 5 minutes of your life. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, listen, make it work. And as whoever's pushing this, they know how important it is. And they love to say that our country was built on Christianity. We see indication that there's been some straying and there's been some removal and there have been some lying. There's been some lying and, all kinds of twists and turns. But when you listen to how things were shaped, it was shaped back, with the forefathers, going to the Word of God and kind of carving that into our legislation, into our amendments. The Word of God is there.
Mm-hmm.
But, how we have strayed away from it, how we have abused it, how we have ignored it, how we have removed it is a whole different, but it doesn't mean that it never existed.
Right.
It is a part of our history. It's a part of everyone's history. It's not a part of the white man, the black man, the Hispanic man, the Indian. No, it's a part of everyone's history. So, you know what? Let's get these 10 commandments up. Let's get them up in all the languages so everybody and their mama can learn them, and let's get this thing done, and let's utilize however long we have the opportunity to have this posted. So I'm with you, ladies. I say take it and run, and run fast, and just do what you need to do.
I don't. Lady Tamika just introduced something to me because I never knew who implemented it, who fought for it. I just knew it was take prayer out the schools and then eventually prayers out the school. But real quick, as you were speaking, I looked up the lady, Madeline O'Hare.
Yep.
And she fought to have it taken out, mandatory prayer and Bible reading in the public schools. That's what they were doing. And she fought to have it taken out because she argued it was against the First Amendment. It interfered with the rights of the First Amendment. And she ended up being murdered in 95. Her son, and the granddaughter dismembered, kidnapped, murdered, and body parts dismembered. And the first thing that came to mind was you interfered with people getting to God. And now look at what was allowed to happen, because you didn't just pass away because of old age. You didn't get hit and run a drunk driver. You were kidnapped, murdered, and your body dismembered. And not only you, but one of your sons and the granddaughter. And one of the other sons ended up converting to Christianity.
And he was saved with that.
Yeah, before she passed, he converted to, and I think he was, because it says he was the plaintiff in the original case that she had, but then later on he converted to Christianity. So you did all of that, but then one of your own end up going towards God. Yeah, so it's like you you do all of this, and God's gonna have His way anyway. He's going to have the last say and word anyway. I never ever even thought to look up, well, how did this start? Who was the person that initiated who? But that is just wow, because you're an atheist. So now you push, and Pastor Steph, you talk about that all the time. They are so against God, whether directly like this or indirectly, and they are so dedicated to letting it be known and doing what they got to do. Meanwhile, we for God and all that, and we sitting here no mouth, and we don't want to talk. Oh no, I don't want to
Yep.
offend this one. And like you said, when the chancellor was speaking last night, and he started talking about God, and I noticed how the whole room wasn't cheering like it was when other people were speaking, or when he was talking about other aspects of his thoughts and experiences. But the ones who were made up for all the other ones
Right.
who was just like, what's wrong with y'all?
Right,
Like, okay, we
right.
like, listen, because this is the most important aspect. And and they have to see that we will go harder for God than any other idea that is put
Right.
on this floor. So yeah, like let's just get this up in these schools, because
You know that account made me think about a biblical story when I think it was one of the prophets told gave a message from God that says, your body is going to be scattered and it will be
yes,
over.
and the
And
doors
right, right. And sure enough, so said, so done. So don't interfere with God's work. I don't think you want to get involved with that thing. Because you're going to pay a very hard price. And here's the sad part about it, like you brought up, the granddaughter, was a victim of what happened with the grandmother, and you were kidnapped and tortured, killed. So that means you were aware of your suffering. Just that kidnapping alone would put fear in you, like, what's going to happen to me? Are you going to let me go? Are you going to kill me? How are you going to kill me? Is it going to be quick or, short? That will drive you crazy, by itself.
One of your employees. It's about one of her employees.
It was?
Yeah, I think, hold on. They said something like one of her employees.
Wow.
Yeah. Their bodies were found in 2001 after being held for ransom and killed by a former employee.
Now
Someone she knew.
Wow.
Someone she knew. And I tell you, this is why God says, vengeance is mine. Leave the revenge to me. But see, can't nobody do it like Jesus.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Can't nobody do it like the Lord.
They were kidnapped from her atheist office in Texas. This is being put up in Texas?
Wow. Wow.
Look at God.
Of the foolishness.
Wow.
Look at God is like, I'm going to start this with you. Where you initiated this. Because she initiated it, said schools in Baltimore. She was aiming for schools in Baltimore. But you were taken from where you were in Texas. And now I'm going to make sure my word stands in Texas.
Wow.
I was wondering why Texas. That's why.
Wow. Look at God. That's
he
all.
Knows what he's
you
doing.
Can't. Yeah, you can't be God. See, God only you can't do it like God can.
Mm-hmm.
And when we take up this vengeance and revenge and all this stuff, we get in trouble. But when God, and we could never do it like him. So imagine not doing it the way it could be done, that had the effect that needed to be had, and then getting in trouble when you didn't even get the effect that you wanted. And when God does it, ain't that just like God, to now let you, even in your death, this is mine. This is mine. This is mine. You're not going to rip this, from me.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, ladies, for indulging us in our socially conscious segment. I wanted to go to last night's conversation. They started off saying, the city officials started off saying that, this town hall meeting was for them, and it was so that they could be heard, and, the young people, and to hear and see what they wanted, and, how they felt about, what had happened. And Eagle Academy is a semi private school. It's not, one of the, main parts of the Board of Ed, list of high schools, but it is, on the board. There's one in the Bronx, one in Queens, one in Brooklyn, and he said there's one in New Jersey, and there was and one in Staten Island.
Mhm.
And they do have an Eagles boys unit, and they have in Jamaica, they do have an Eagles girl building. I don't know if the girls unit is, in the other five, 4 areas, but definitely in Jamaica, Queens, it's there. And the young Jaden Pierre who was murdered. He was a student there, and so they allowed those young men to speak up, and they have a lot of programs in the school. 100 Suits, King of Kings. I can't think of the other.
Life
I have it
Camp.
in my phone. Yes, thank you. Life Camp. They have those organizations on site for those young men, and they spoke, and there were some who were juniors because they were class of 27. So they have one more year there, and there was one young one who spoke. He's got a couple years because he's a class of 29. But I wanted to go over some of the things that they expressed and said that they wanted, that they would hope to see, that if this were in place, maybe this and other instances would not have happened. And one of the things that they talked about was them wanting more Black teachers. Like I said a little while ago, when we went through that point of, one of Vivian's items. Why do you think it's so important for a young Black child, male child, to express that he wants to see more Black male teachers? Lady Tamika, why do you think that's on their hearts?
It's so important. I thinking about my childhood as a Black female. I didn't start seeing Black teachers, male or female, until high school. That's a long time to go without seeing that, and then a Black male teacher in college. That was my first. It was just like, ooh, they do exist, and you think about it just in general. A lot of our children come from broken families and broken homes where in most cases the father is not present, and in instances like that, what ends up ultimately happening, you don't intend it, even as a child or as an educator, you become what they need to see, and as a male figure, they emulate. Or, I can speak on this frame. Al is in the school system. He's not a teacher, but he's a dean. He's also a coach. So those are areas where the father figure, if you will, is presented,
Right.
and there are many times when he'll go beyond what he gets paid to do. Your assignment is to be on the school premise, but he'll go outside the school to check and see, these children are over here at a Subway, or they're over here in the store. You're supposed to be in school, and so those are the things when a man can say, we have seen in households where a woman will tell a child, sit down, don't do this, go here, be quiet, stop hitting your sister, blah, blah, blah. And the man will walk into the room and go, hey, child stops automatically, and I think that is what is necessary. A lot of times we're yelling and screaming and hollering and getting tired, but that role of a man is essential. It's essential. It was the makeup for when God created us together, male and female. And so when you're always, excuse me, when you're always seeing the female, it's okay. But to really see that male figure, it turns the whole nature of a classroom, of a household, of an environment around. And when the children are saying they need to see it, that's why.
Right, right. Absolutely. All right, Shantice, you were there, you heard, the cry of the young young men, and this was one of their requests. This is one of their desires. Why do you think that would be important to them?
Because I need the encouragement, the hope, the proof that I can be what you're pushing me to be. You're telling me to do good. You're telling me to get good grades. You're telling me to respect my parents. You're telling me not to push my little sister down the steps when she getting on my nerve. You're telling me to make sure I don't sell drugs and stay out of jail. And don't hang with gangs, because if I do, it's going to interfere with this type of future. Or if I do, I'm going to have that type of future. But then I don't see no end result. I don't see anything that shows, well, you see how he look over there? You want to look like that? Or don't you see that man over there? Wouldn't you want to look like that? And unfortunately, there's this cry for it because there's not enough of, don't you want to look like that man over there? There's a whole lot more. You see him over there? That's what you gonna look like if you keep da-da-da-da-da. So I'm seeing more of that. And I may have some really good teachers, but if they don't look like me, that's still not giving me the hope that I need. That's still not giving me the boost and the encouragement that I need, because again, statistically and in this world, I'm being told directly or indirectly as a whole that I'm not gonna make it because I'm a little black or brown boy. I'm ignorant. If I don't go to college, I ain't gonna be about nothing because I have to go to college in order to do. But then I meet this black man who maybe college didn't work for him, but he's successfully running his own business.
Right.
But there's still aspects that I have to learn in order to get there. So they need that hope and that encouragement for people, men who look just like them.
Okay. One of the other things that they expressed was they felt like they wanted more activities. They wanted more after school activities. They wanted more community centers where they could have other activities. They said that if these are the things we like, then put the things out here that we like. If those boys who were attacking Jaden, the one who shot, what's the other young boy's name last year who was murdered in
Sanjay.
Whoever murdered and killed him, had they had other activities, then maybe they could have been in some after school program or doing things that would have kept them busy, and they would not have been, in this mindset, because they would have had, other things going on in their head. Why do you think that they are saying, these are their peers, or why do you think they want more? They come from a school where they got a whole lot of different role models and mentor programs right in their school, but they are still craving after school programs, community centers, things that have activities that they could get involved in to keep them occupied. Not just them occupied, but the other ones who stay in trouble occupied. Shantice.
I love the aspect of ask us what we want. Typically, okay, it's young men, so we're going to give them basketball, we're going to give them football, we're going to give them video games, we're going to give them the typical things that boys like. When we did the fashion show at Jackson High School. And of course, it's fashion. Not only is it fashion, it's a fashion show. So of course, when us designers showed up, the girls were up in our face. Like, oh, you have something I can wear? You have something I can wear? Like literally in our face. There were no boys. And there were a few boys in the auditorium, and I knocked on the door. And I said, hey, how you doing? And then and I was like, y'all coming to the fashion show? And it was like, oh, it's a fashion show? I was like, you gonna act like they ain't know? And it was like, nah, we're gonna be there. And I was like, oh, I need models. You're walking. And they just looked at each other and they were like, oh, okay. And they walked. And then one contacted me on Instagram a few weeks later and was like, let me know when you're having another show because I would love to model again. But had I not went in there and told him he was going to model, he wouldn't have had that experience. And this doesn't have to be something he wants to make into a career.
Right.
But while I'm in school, and if the opportunity presents itself, I would actually like to walk, you know? And then maybe if we did some print ads, I would actually maybe like to have a photo shoot, you know? And then what if by me doing that, I start looking at the photographer like, well, how do you do that? And now I'm interested in photography, or maybe I become interested in designing, or maybe I become interested in promoting. We don't know until we present the opportunities. None of us knew what we were good at or what we were like until we made room for God, because we can block God giving us the opportunities until we shut up long enough to let God present us with things. And then we're like, oh, I could do that, or I would actually like that.
Right.
Yes, I love the influx, the high value of the desire of let's give them more. But at the same time, pay attention to everything they said. They said, listen to me as to what I want, because what that can also do is help to streamline them as well. You know what? I would actually like to go on a high speed chase. Why? You know, like talk to them about their desire. It opens up more room for dialogue, you know? So with us adults and those of us who have the ability to offer these services, yes, have them available, but also sit and listen to them and assist them with streamlining their desires and give them more of a broader thing, and don't just keep sticking these stereotypical desires in their face. Because and that's one of the things I love about the career days now. When I was in middle school, elementary, high school, career days was everything about the postal worker, the cop, the fireman, the school teacher, which are all the doctors, nurses, all great professions. But now you got fashion designers, you got journalists, you got singers, you got all of these different types, you got franchise owners. Or now they're opened up to like, wait, there's more than just the stereotypical careers that may not interest me, but because the world says this is where the money is and this is what I should do, now I'm breaking my back, struggling through school, struggling to pay for college, struggling to pay for med school because you said I should be a doctor. No, let's give these babies more options and assist God in expanding their creativity.
Okay. Lady Tamika, why do you think, they figure, hey, I got this stuff in the school already, but I still want things in after school. I still want after school programs. I still want community centers. Not only would it help me, but it would help those who are out here committing these type of crimes. Why do you think that's, on their radar?
So, so just being transparent with New York, there are a couple of areas that I know of. There is the Saturday Night Light program for inner city youth, male, where they can come and play basketball. They're in various schools. Then there is HEYEO, which is Higher Education Youth Enhancement Opportunities for young Black females. There is another one called Rise. Its birthplace is Atlanta, but they're coming here towards June and July to mentor people who, in not just, one thing or another. What is it that you like? What is it that burns your heart? What is it that lights a fire underneath you? So that they know, okay, well, how do I get that started? They start from the birthplace so that children have access. Because my thing is, if you don't know, you can't grow,
Right.
And one of the things that I love about the fact that the youth are saying we need this. One of the things also that I love, Al is trying to get it implemented. What if I don't want to go to college? Because everybody's not college bound. Some people just can't. What if all I want to do is be a bus driver? Like, that's the thing that I want to do. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be a bus driver. If that's what you want to do, baby, let's get you going. Because everybody can't make that college up. Everybody doesn't have the finances. What is it that I just want to play basketball? Okay, so who do we know that we can get you started in those areas? I want to rap. Who do we know, that we can get you started? It's so important, as opposed to, okay, well, they said that I'm only going to be on the street, so there's nothing else for me to do. There's nothing interested. When we don't cultivate their minds, then we have them going to a mall doing firecrackers. We have them out there, having balloon fights. We have them out there doing snowball fights. When you don't do something constructive with an idle mind, we know that an idle mind is a devil's workshop. So if you are already saying that our young black men are headed for jail and prison, and I guarantee you they hear it every day, and you don't show them something else, that's exactly where they'll end up.
Absolutely. You ladies are bringing up some really good points. I'm going to veer off from there because I'm coming back to this. I think I want to do this a couple of weeks. But one of the things I wanted to talk about, we have a few more minutes. A couple of the people, it was a male and a female, and they were like, where are the adults? Where are the adults who have these children who are misbehaving, that are killing, that are using drugs, that are in gangs? Where are they? We need to get them here. And my thought was, well, the word was put out. You yourself, as an adult, as a parent, you have to understand that there's a call on your life. And one of the things that some of the people raised was, we need more programs for adults, and we need to, there needs to be a well-rounded community program where we're not just doing after-school programs for the children. We need to be doing after-school programs for the adults, teaching them different. Somebody said something about teaching them to have morals and teaching them structure. And I was like, wow. And I'll stop there. Yes. Mm-hmm. I'll stop there. What, in your opinion, ladies, could you do, could the society do to reach out to parents and have that appeal that when you see this town hall meeting, you say, my kids are one of the kids that act like this. My kid is a kid in a gang. That would make them come out. What are they missing? What do they need? What could be that one thing that you think could be said? Or is there anything that we could say as clergy or the police department or the city officials, anybody could say that really could get them out? Are we responsible for them? Help me, because I have my own thoughts, but I want to, and feel free, this chat room has been very, very quiet today, but I would love to hear, from everybody, what do you think when someone says, where are those parents? How come those parents aren't here? We need to do, well, what can we do to get them out here? How would you answer that, Tamika, Lady Tamika?
We need to take it back to the basics, meaning that, one of the things that has caused damage is don't say nothing to my child. Don't, that's my child, blah, blah, blah. And that has caused so much more damage than we can ever imagine. I remember as a child, if I walked down the street and somebody over there who's not my mother, who, is not related, they're not blood related,
That's right.
if they said or did something and they said it to me, I better respond that quick, and we have gotten to the point where, unfortunately, you don't want anybody to say or do anything to your child. And now you're dealing with this child who's driving you up the wall. You get a call every day, saying that boo-boo is acting up, and the school can't do anything with them. You can't do anything with them. Siblings can't do anything with them, and you are almost at the point where it's like, okay, I need help. You did this to yourself, unfortunately, but, we can take it back to the basics. We talked about men coming to the school. You don't even have to work for them. Just come. Make your presence known. Stand outside the property if you need to. We need to go back to the way God instructed this. Where is the village? We're the village people, and so if we can get that glue back together where I'm concerned about you, you're concerned about me, we wouldn't have so many people saying, I'm at my wit's end. We see it. The school sees it. The church sees it. The neighborhood sees it. All of these different entities and people alone see it, but we don't know because we were told, oh, I got my child, don't say anything to my child. I think that if we get to the point where we connect those dots like a bracelet, it'll be so much easier. And when we see little boo-boo act, you say something, so that everybody is doing their part.
Right. Okay. I like that. Shantice.
When I heard that yesterday, I was a little confused. I didn't feel like that answered the question. That answered the question. You're talking about grown people. We're here because they ain't doing nothing. So I understood the conviction in the question, but it was like, how are you so out of sorts? Like the evidence of the negligence of the parents and guardians and their support system is null and void. This is why we're here. So I wasn't really looking for any of them to be there, because you're the reason why we're here. So I could see that being more of like a statement more than it was a question last night. Like, this is why we need to figure out something, because to back up, obviously, because you see they ain't here, something like that, instead of it being a question for someone to answer, because honestly there is no answer.
Right.
They have to answer that.
Right.
They have to answer that.
Right.
They weren't there when they did it, and they're not going to be there to show up for the consequence, okay, or on their own. They're just not going to do that unless they're convicted by God. How do we? That's not. You have your parent coordinators in these schools. That's their job. The job of a parent coordinator is to be the bridge, to be the link between the parents and guardians and their support team. So uncles, aunts, older siblings, whatever, and the schools. So whether it be who I can directly see in the schools or the superintendent, the chancellors, whomever, that's what a parent coordinator does. They coordinate the relationship between the parents and those employees within the school board. Just like one of the other parents said yesterday, they don't even attend PTA meetings. So how much more difficult is the parent coordinator's job when I can't even get you to show up for something that's for your child? How likely is it that you're going to show up for something that's for you? And that's the problem. These parents don't care about themselves. They don't care about themselves. And so now we expect them to care about their children. As sad as it is, they don't. They don't. So realistically, that wasn't the responsibility of anyone in that room, whether it had been another parent, someone like me, who I'm not a parent, but I grew up in this community, and I'm almost like a, you know, kind of like I'm an extra plus auntie, because that's my job. And even with being involved with a lot of the other kids in the community, you know, or whether you're someone like them, the chief of police, of the police department, and clergy, and all of that. But that's not the job. My job is to give you the information. And that's why I keep saying, if one more person tell me they're an adult, they're grown. Grown is not your age, because when it's time to do adult things, when it's time, I'm seeing more and more and more. Everyone loves to stand on the mountaintop and talk about I'm grown, but when it's time to do grown things, no one is there to do the grown things. And being in that room was the grown thing to do, especially as a parent of someone who has caused the melee that has us here. So in my opinion, it wasn't anyone's responsibility there. Our responsibility there last night was to feed into those children and to each other, those of us who were there, whether we're on point or not. We were all there to say, I could use a little more help. I could use a little more knowledge. I could use some more collaborations. I could use some more insight. That was our job there last night. Not to go and beat it up in the grown people's head as to why they should be there.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of like a weird question statement to the people who were hosting this. I called it a town hall meeting. I'm like, how can they speak for them? Like you said, Shantice, they why we here. Perfectly polished, Shantice. It was such a pleasure meeting you ladies last night, speaking with you both, and Mom praying for me and my baby. I am grateful and I am appreciative, and I've gained a new family. Thank you.
You sure have. Hey, good morning, Kay.
Amen. Amen, Kay. Thank you so much for being receptive to our love, our concern, and our care, and us being sent by God there. And it was a pleasure, an absolute pleasure, just exchanging thoughts and hugs and prayer. It was really a blessing. And I started off my opening today saying how much of a blessing it was to be there last night. I was really surprised at just the warmth in the room when I went to speak to other people. They actually gave me their phone numbers. I was like, wow, okay. So thank you for the love. We really appreciate it. Ladies, thank you so much again for your contribution into today's conversation. And we pray you have a blessed day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to talk about this last question statement that was raised last night. And I think, thank you. Thank you, Kay. We really, really cherish that exchange last night. Trust me when I tell you. So the question was, how come they're not here? And what can we do to get them here? And, somebody said, I don't remember if it was the same or it was a different person who said, well, we got to teach them morals and we got to teach them structure. And, as far as the answer, that was a response. This is what we need to teach them. And I sat in my chair as someone who's about to be 60. God spares my life. And I was listening, y'all. I always say I listen intently. And I was sitting there and I'm saying to myself, can I teach you morals at 35? You're a parent. So I'm assuming you're somewhere 30 and up, okay? In case you had like your child when you were young or whatever. we're responsible for teaching you morals right now. There was a lot of things going on in my head. And I took a step back and I said, what's your job, Stephanie? What has God called you to do? And I said, you know what? I cannot teach you structure, but I don't know why I'm getting so emotional. This was like yesterday. As a pastor, it is my job to teach you the way of God. And the way of God is structure. The way of God are morals. And it is my job that regardless of your age, regardless of your background, regardless of where you are now, regardless of your economic status, regardless of your gender, regardless of what you think about you, regardless of your family composition, that's my job. My job is to impart into you the way of God. And see, here's the thing. I've always got to assume that I'm starting from scratch. Always. I cannot assume you are anywhere. Because why? Because I've seen people, we had this video, this PSA a couple of weeks ago where the preacher or the pastor was saying, you know, regardless of where you are, you could be in church for 10, 15 years and nobody see any growth in your Christian walk. And that's why I've always got to start from scratch with you. I cannot assume that because you've been sitting in church that you're there and you've got all the morals and you've got all the structure. I cannot assume that because you are not in church that you don't have morals and you don't have structure. But I've always got to just, you know, read you. And people don't understand that that's a gift. And I'm not patting myself on the back. Just pay attention. Just walk with me. Just walk with me here. I've got to be able to read you. And I've got to be able to. So let's go with Kay. So she was the one who spoke openly about the prayer. So when Shantice actually connected with Kay and her son. And I was there was someone who had said something and I was trying to find several people that I had heard speak and I was trying to grab them before they left. So as I was walking by, Shantice grabbed me and she called me over and she introduced me to Kay, blah, 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 blah. And I spoke with them and then I walked off and I came back. And they started talking to me a little bit more about the experience. And I looked at Kay and I said, who looks like a baby, y'all. Oh my goodness gracious. She has such a youthful look. But you could tell she's on it. She reminded me so much of myself when I was a young mother. I was able to dialogue with her long enough where the Lord said to me to tell her, you're not the mother you were a couple of weeks ago. That by the incident taking place and your son having a direct effect on your son, you're not the same mom. You're not mothering the same child. He's not the same son you had 2 weeks ago. That's a gift. You've got to be able to just stand with God long enough, connect with the person that you're speaking with, and be able to deliver that word. Again, I'm not patting myself on the back because see, I always say, and I've said this to you for the whole 5.5 years we've been on this broadcast. I don't know what to say to you until God gives it to me. This is why it is important that I listen intently, because not only am I listening to who's speaking to me, but I have to listen to God in order to relay what God wants me to say to you, that he's saying to me that he wants you to know. And when you ask the question, how do we get these people up in here? They're the ones that need to be in here. We know what we're supposed to do when we're here, and we're binding and bonding, we're connecting, and where are they? We can't speak for where they are, because one of the things, guilt have kept them from being there yesterday. And because let me tell you something, guilt will paralyze you just as much as fear will paralyze you. Guilt will kill you the same way fear will kill you, because guilt is a level of fear. And if nobody makes that appeal to you as a guilty individual, and if all we see is your guilt, then guess what? We will never be able to do anything for them. We are going to have to be able to find a way to connect. We are going to have to be able to let people know that even in your guilt, we love you. We have to be able to connect with people that say, you know what? I know that you may have missed the mark. And whatever your child did falls in your lap. And we, Shantice tells you all the time, if a teacher called me and told me about some behavior, if I went to school and they said, oh, they did such and such a thing, Shantice said, oh, we got a beating, and the teacher was lying. And my mother said, just in case they weren't lying, because I needed to, if you weren't guilty today, I'm going to help you from being guilty tomorrow. You remember that I tore you up on this day, and you're going to think about that deed tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. So I need to help you all understand that the question of, well, we need to teach them morals and we need to teach them structure, and that is our job. And this is why every day I make the appeal to you to give your life to the Lord. Because let me help you with something. There are, like I said, it's a gift. It's a gift that God gives to you, where you will be able to connect with people differently than just on a regular lateral basis. In other words, if we both are not in the Lord, I can help you, but I'm limited. See, I've signed up for that unlimited help. See, when I said to God, okay, I'll do what you've called me to do, that meant I was saying, I'm signing up for that unlimited level of help that you're about to give me to help a Mary or a John who's having problems with raising their children. Because we have all seen people where parents have broke their back going to church, pastors' kids, and they the worst, sometimes the worst ones. We really can't say that, well, we're the parents and the parents ain't doing nothing, and that's why the kids ain't nothing. We can't say that. Because I've seen somebody in my own family. We were all raised together, and we all of us looking at that person saying, okay, why? How you get here, and why you want to hang with the riffraffs? Why you want to go? What is the appeal when all of us have, even those of us who have not accepted God on that person's level, still can't figure out why you want to be over there? Why you keep hanging with these people? How you keep getting involved and interacting with these people? How? Because we weren't raised like that. So we can't say that all of these children who are doing these things come from bad homes. But here's how God can use you for them. Give your life to Him. Because even though you may be above them and you don't have their frailties and their dysfunctions, you are limited in how you can help them. Trust me. You need that unlimited ability to not only be able to help them, but see, you can't help them if you can't connect with them. See, when I spoke to Kay last night, I spoke to her as a single parent raising a kid. I spoke to her as a single mother raising a child. I started off as a single mother. Well, I wasn't single, but I wasn't a single mother. I was a young mother. And I didn't have my head in the right place because I was in an abusive relationship. So I was able, by the grace of God, who helped navigate me raising my girls. I made my share of mistakes, and I'm probably still making some as they're grown women. But as I moved into giving God my life, it opened up different doors for me. So I was able to see some things that I couldn't see before. Again, there's an increase that happens that you don't control. And while I'm sitting, listening and going, I got to teach people scruples and structure and morals. And the Spirit of the Lord said to me, yep, that's your job, Stephanie. But I don't want you to think about it like that. Just give them God. Because see, you know how to give God. He's dealt with you, and you position yourself to be dealt with even further in order to be a blessing to anyone's life. I can actually hold a conversation with anyone and not be stumped. Though, let me tell you something. Being in that room, boy, we were amongst everybody. I mean, everybody. There was a plethora of people in there, and I gave God thanks that I wasn't limited, because I didn't know who I was approaching when I said, hi, hello, how are you? Can I please tell you about our prayer and awareness walk? I didn't know who I was talking to. And I was speaking to men and women, young and old, rich and poor, good backgrounds, bad backgrounds. I didn't know who I was talking to. But regardless of the direction of the conversation, he allowed me and enabled me to go ahead on that journey. And I can only say it's because of what he has given me. That Holy Spirit speaks for me. All I have to do is open up my mouth, and the Spirit of the Lord says, that's who you're talking to. And then when I go to the next person, I say, hi, how are you? Can I tell you about, our prayer and awareness walk? I was talking to somebody completely different. And regardless of the conversation, I could go along with that conversation. I never had to worry about, oh, Lord, this one here is educated. And or this here is a man, and I don't know how to do it. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. So, yes, the pastor started off yesterday with the dialogue between God and Cain when he killed his brother. He says, am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And that part of me, understanding that I'm my brother's keeper, says that I need to be positioned to speak to a parent such as Kay, who's on the job, who's raising her son, she's on it. And I can speak to another parent who's trying to find their way. The parenthood is just getting started. She's a parent of a teenager, but I could also speak to a parent of a toddler who's having problems with that toddler who wants their own way. And I can say, well, listen, here's what we do. Here's how we can handle. Try this. I can speak to the parent of there was a woman in there who had a teenager, and she stood at the Polish crying because she said she's tired of releasing her daughter every day, and she's fearful. And when she sat down, I beckoned to her, and I said, come here for a minute. And she got up and she came, and I gave her a hug, and I said, you got this. And I just started ministering, just talking. I didn't say nothing about God necessarily. And then I started talking about God. And she was like, thank you so much. She said, I don't know why I broke down. And I said, because this is a heavy weight to carry, girl. We living in a world that we can't contain what happens. We can't anticipate. That mama let her kid go out that day. That boy didn't return. She had no idea he was not going to return back into her home. That's a chance we take. That's a chance I take with 3 adult girls and a granddaughter. You're not alone in this. And listen, here's my number. Call me if you need to cry. And you ain't got no, everybody think you crazy. You call me. I am my brother's keeper. And that's what we have to remember. And that's what God reminded me of last night when I actually sat there and I was like, that's our job. We gotta, and then the Lord said, yeah. It's your job, Stephanie. It's everybody in this room's job. But everybody must position themselves to be able to not just be their brother's keeper, but to be their brother's keeper. See, that thing ain't no surface thing. See, when I ask, am I my brother's keeper? And God says yes. He's saying that, listen, Stephanie, you ain't only got one brother. You ain't only got one kind of brother, girl. You got a brother in the east. You got a brother in the west. You got a brother in the north. You got a brother in the south. You got a rich brother. You got a poor brother. You got a broken-hearted brother. You got a brother that laughs at everything. You got brothers, girl. Be ready. Be on your job. And the only way I can is I continue to surrender to God and give my life to Him so that when He's ready to use me, I can be used because I am my brother's keeper. See, that's our job. See, we don't realize that that's our job. And what we don't realize is that we're failing at that job. Because see, when we don't think we need God and we try to navigate this life without Him, we are limited. So when my brother is in front of me and needs me, I can't help him. Or I can help him this much, but he needs this much help. So now he's got to go through 9 people, opposed to it being a one-stop shop. Instead of going to Walmart, you over here at the 99-cent store with all the dust all over the items. Ain't nobody been shopping up in here forever. Nobody comes up in this store. So therefore, they gets no movement. All the items that are there today were there 3 weeks ago because nobody comes up in this store. Because every time somebody looks through the door, ain't nothing in there they can use. That's you. Is that you? Make yourself available to your brother. And I tell you, I thank God when I walked up out that building, when we left up out of there, we were one of the few that were left. When we walked through the park to come home, there was nobody really out there. We had pretty much stayed till the very end. And when I walked out there, I said to myself, I said, Stephanie, God just was able to use you in multiple ways for different people. I had people hugging me. I asked people to hug them. I got up and we said there was something we just automatically, just mutually hugged because there was some stuff needed in that room yesterday. I wasn't just there to listen. I was so glad when they asked, can we have the clergy just raise their hand? It wasn't a whole lot of us in that room. And what I didn't know was Shanti said, I heard somebody say something about the women. Shanti said, Ma, there was really only women that raised their hands. And initially I wasn't going to go. But the Spirit of the Lord said, no, you need to be there. They're calling for people who can help. Then you need to be there. They're calling people in this community. Well, I've been a part of this community for 31 years. I needed to be there, not only as a resident, but as a pastor. And I watched how God used me. How God used me. And I said to God, thank you. Because I think I would have felt so useless to hear somebody up at the mic. I mean, she just started crying. She was good at first, and and even I didn't see it as a breakdown. I said, you didn't break down. That's your feeling, girl. That's how you felt. I cried, and none of my children were affected necessarily on my broadcast this morning. I cried. I cried with y'all. That's why I tell y'all all the time. I don't celebrate nobody have no kids. No. This world is a mess. Please don't bring over nobody no kids up in this world. Especially if you are disconnected from God, because you're only going to again be limited as to what you could truly offer your children. And a lot of people would take offense to that, but guess what? I don't care, because just like the chancellor of that school, the ex-chancellor of the school, he said it yesterday. He said, all this stuff y'all doing, we need guidance counselors and we need social workers, and y'all give y'all kids this and all these expensive sneakers, and we don't give our children God. Guess what? You might as well give them nothing. You might as well give them nothing. You need to be able, and we talk about this on this broadcast all the time, even for when Pastor Kim and Elder Natisha was on this broadcast, and we were completely audio. We need to be able to, I told you I used to get up at night and I used to pray over my kids' door. Just touch their door. And when they were gone, I would pray over their bed, touch their clothes. Just whatever. God, I need you to be in this kid's life. And I didn't even have the concerns that mothers and fathers have today. They weren't living in in this world. They weren't. Just give your life to the Lord. Allow God to use you unlimitedly. Stop being limited. Jesus said, I didn't just come to give you life. I came to give you life more abundantly. Much more than we could ever even imagine. Had you told me this 15, 20 years, had you told me this 31 years ago when I moved my kids into this community, that I would be here right now holding a church in my home at first, and now being, out in the public with my ministry and doing all different things in the ministry. You could have never told me this 30 years ago. You could have never told me this. Because I didn't know God then the way I know God now. And I think about who Stephanie was at 50. I think of who Stephanie was at 40. I think of who Stephanie was at 30. I had my 30th birthday in this home. And I think about the decades that have passed and who I was back then. I am child. Nowhere near. God couldn't use me half as much back then as he can now. I was fit to be in that room last night and to pray with people and to comfort them, not because of me, but because I allowed God to use me. And I beg of you to allow God to use you. Not just use you on one level, not just use you laterally, but to use you unlimitedly. See, that's the gift. That's the gift. Not when you can work this big, but when you can work this big. To know that same mom got on this broadcast this morning to say thank you. She's ultimately saying thank you to God, because I'm just the middleman. How many people, when you finish talking to them, how many people say thank you to God for what you've said or done in their life? Because you are your brother's keeper. Are you utilizing your gifts that God has given you to serve your brother? Or are you self-serving? I spoke to a DJ yesterday for the conference, and we don't have a budget. Let me tell you something. Pastor Steph never has a budget. Never, ever have have a budget. And my prayer is after this event, God would launch me into a budget world. And I spoke to this DJ yesterday that my sister has used, and she referred, I asked her and she said, I'll call, no problem. I'll tell him, and we connected yesterday. Can I tell you what a beautiful exchange? Only to find out that he's a deacon. Only to find out that he's a trustee. Only to find out that he said God has been blessing him because he's a regular DJ as well. He said, pretty much primarily he's a regular DJ. He said, but he's watching how God is transitioning him to do more Christian and gospel events. And because God has blessed him so much, he could talk to me yesterday and not be concerned that I didn't have a budget. And quoting me a price, and I was sitting on the floor, I was just frozen. And I was like, did you just say? He was like, yeah. And if you can't do that, don't even worry about it. I was like, yo, am I my brother's keeper? He was keeping Stephanie because he said, you know what, Pastor Steph? He said, I listened to the prayer and awareness walk goal. He said, how could I not sign on to be a part of this? He said, as a deacon, as a trustee, as a child of God, how can I not see that you're trying to do this outreach and not just sign on? Because he understood that God told him that he was my keeper. And we hung up the phone and I was near to tears. And I'm like, yo, God, are you serious? He just said that. Really? Only to leave my home and to walk into that building filled with people. And God allowed me to be a blessing. Did you see how infectious this is? That's the way we're supposed to operate. We're supposed to be infectious. Our love is supposed to be infectious to one another. We are not supposed to just, hey, how you doing? Yeah, God bless you, and walk off. We're supposed to be able to walk off where people really feel like they were blessed when they met us. And I tell you, every single individual that I met last night, every single individual that I spoke to last night, I was blessed. I came out that building feeling so full that I told Shantice, let's walk. I only got 1,000 steps a day. And it was 9 o'clock. So I had exceeded my 1,000 steps. But I was floating last night. And she was like, Ma, it's cold. Can we get a lift from here? I said, no. We're going to walk over to such and such a place. And she was like, oh, okay. I paid for it. Oh my God, did I pay for it? I paid for it. Paid for it. And I still am paying for it. But you know what? It's worth every pain I feel. Because God blessed me last night. I have never felt that level of blessing last night. So I say thank you to everybody who invested into Stephanie yesterday. Whether they realized it or not, they invested into me. Because what it did for me was to put me in a deeper surrender to God so that he could use me even more. See, when God can use you, you don't come out with what you did for people. You come out with what God has done for you. And that's why I said, he showed me last night that, yeah, I'm my brother's keeper. Girl, you better work this room. You better talk to everybody you can. And I did. And I met some amazing people. Everybody was amazing. So let God use you. Let God use you today. Right now. Give your life to the Lord and let God use you. Without bars. You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit as you go through your day. Be sure to set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. They will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew, for the ladies, for always coming through big time. Thank you for hanging out with us and helping us do what we do. Thank you for keeping that chat room alive. Please do not miss this opportunity to give your life to Christ right now. Please do not miss this opportunity to strengthen that relationship with the Lord right now, because later is not promised to any of us. Until tomorrow, God spares. Now, don't forget. Don't forget, but tomorrow evening, we're back on Brother Ainsley, Shantice, and myself with My 2 Cents. We will be reviewing Adolescence, which is a Netflix series, a small series, and we will be continuing our journey with Mayor of Kingstown, Paramount Plus. And that's season 2, episodes 4, 5, and 6. Come on in the room and help us determine whether we should click it or kick it. All right. But until tomorrow, God spares, when it's Therapeutic Thursday. Until then, I love you.